Wow, I need a haircut. How's it going, everybody? It's been a little while. I was in the process of moving. As you can see, it is a little different, not by much, but I am trying to figure out the background setting, if I still want to keep it like this, if I want to use one of the spare rooms. So it might be a different background every time, but I'm going to figure that out in time. But because it is the official fall season of 2023, I decided to check out A Haunting in Venice. Usually this isn't really a movie that I would typically go see. About 4 or 5 years ago, I stopped watching the demonic possession and ghost movies. They were just really detrimental to my spiritual health. It wasn't really doing me any favors. It was causing me a lot of grief. And it was just like every time I would watch something like that, I would just feel this enormous amount of dread that was inescapable. And I didn't really like that feeling. So as far as slashers and suspense horror movies, I still watch those kinds of things. But this was one that was kind of riding the line a little bit. I didn't really know if it was going to be a possession type movie or what to really expect. But I think what interested me the most is just how when this trailer came out, they dropped that reveal of Hercule Poirot's face at the end of the trailer, and it just shocked me. I was like, whoa, it's one of those Murder on the Orient Express movies. But what's funny is that I actually didn't really care for the previous two movies. I thought that Murder on the Orient Express was interesting. I did not like Death on the Nile at all. But adding horror elements into this character's story and his journey was something that was really interesting to me, and I was really looking forward to it. That being said, my favorite aspect of this film is the character of Poirot and where they take his character, because he does seem like the kind of guy that would be a hardcore skeptic who would not believe in the supernatural. It wouldn't really cross his mind. So this movie ultimately challenges him in that way, similar to the way that Murder on the Orient Express challenged his empathy. This one challenges his beliefs, and how Kenneth Branagh brought that to the screen as an actor and a director I thought was really excellent. Michelle Yeoh is also really good. I think Jamie Dornan, I think that's his last name, the guy from 50 Shades of Grey, I thought he was really good. I actually really like him as an actor. I think he's actually very underrated. I think that this ensemble of characters is my favorite ensemble out of all three films, not just for actor standpoint. I think there are better actors in the previous films, but as far as how these characters handle the situation, it really kept me guessing. There were so many moments where I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about this. But how the story wraps up and what the big reveal is, I feel like is my favorite reveal of the three films. I'm just gonna say right now that this is my favorite of the three movies. I think the story is better well paced, it's better well told, it's more interesting because it has that horror element to it. Because you don't know if it's fake, is it bogus, is it real, is there an actual supernatural element to this thing? So that's another layer of trying to figure something out for yourself and what you see and what you perceive as what's happening. So the film does a great job of making you feel claustrophobic and like you are with these people in this mansion, and I really appreciated that. However, if you are looking for a straight up horror movie, this isn't really that kind of film. There are elements in here of your typical horror film, but really the scariest moment is the seance scene. That's the reason why everybody's there. That's the starting point of the plot. But compared to all the other seance scenes that I have seen in movies, it is very tame. The whole entire movie is very tame when you compare it to other horror films. It's definitely a movie that prefers to focus more on the murder mystery aspect of the film as opposed to the horror aspect. So yeah, there is part of me that wished for a little bit more horror in the film, but if you are someone that doesn't like horror movies with ghosts and demons and seances and possessions and all that stuff, then you're gonna be fine watching this film. It's more of a jump scare fest as opposed to a straight up scary movie. I have seen episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark that are scarier than this movie. So if you're looking for a more subtle, scary movie that isn't really that scary that you can put on just for fun to kind of prepare yourself for the Halloween season, I think this one's a great choice. I thought the performances were great. I thought the directing was great. I even really liked the setting for this film. It just gave me that old school scary movie type vibe that just really completes the overall feeling of the season of fall. I actually wouldn't mind if they spent another film kind of dabbling in their horror roots. Like, you'd probably have some trouble with running into the same plot as this movie if you did something similar, but I think that it would be cool if you had him travel to, let's say, Romania to solve a murder case, and then about halfway through you find out that the murder is connected to Dracula somehow. I don't know if Dracula's doing the killings. I don't know if how he plays into the story. It might be a little too far-fetched, but I do think that it would be an interesting take on this kind of story. As for flaws, I think it's just a little bit of a nitpick, but I would have liked to see a little bit more horror incorporated in this film. It definitely chooses to be spooky over scary, and that's fine. Like, I'm fine with that. But I think having something like in Annabelle Comes Home, which is not a very good example, but there's a great scene in that film where they're using a flashlight and then there are these two coins that are up to where someone's eyes are, and then they flash the light, and then the 2 coins just drop to the floor. I think if there were more use of shadows and use of the environment of that there could be a presence in the room, I think that would have given it a little bit more of an eerie type of feeling. It definitely would have elevated the suspense a little bit more. But aside from that, I think that A Haunting in Venice is a huge step up from its predecessors. It's a major step up from the last one. This is by far my favorite of the 3 movies, and I think it's a great preliminary to the Halloween season. Well guys, that's my take on A Haunting in Venice. I would like to get more Halloween movies reviewed during the spooky season. I don't know what that looks like or if I'm even gonna have the time to do it, but hey, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I'll see you again soon.